Hi CNT students, how are you all doing? Well, this is June month, total 100 days left for your exams, for your September exams 2026. Well, I thought of making a video, quick one, having a glance over your subjects, what should be the revision strategy and just an approach so that in your coming 100 days, how you can approach and try to be ahead of the preparation and keeping it consistency as well as keeping your growth. You should be in that 3 to 5 percentage of pass percentage of CA inter this time. So I want to make sure that you are in. So if you want to stay ahead, just continue watching this video till the end. Some great insightful content is what I am creating here. So the revision strategy that you can adopt is, first of all, is index revision. Index revision is just the section or the essay titles that you have to, write it and write it if it is already there, or you can make a printout of it, the section titles or the essay titles with the numbers. Section number is, it's okay if you have it, it's good. If you don't have, that's fine, but for the essay you should have the numbers as well as the titles, and this you have to revise, recall every morning for 20 minutes. 20 minutes it's enough. In 20 minutes you have to read the title and the numbers, and this should be there in your mind. And while this is in mind, you should be able to recall the provisions in that, be it tax, be it essay, be it accounting standards. Yes, you should have that in mind. So if you cannot recall it, then that is a weak spot. You have to fix it before you studying anything new, because this is a strength. You should have it. So that is the index revision. So making the index revision or doing the index revision before that, how do we, what is the purpose behind it? Well, I'll put it back again. Like for paper one, advanced accounting, I'm just referring to the paper wise, uh, the paper for group one. Make a AS index wise before starting, like the section number and the title and the key measurement required. Now, what is the measurement? Measurement is like in an accounting standard. What is the key requirement in that standard? Just write that. So when you revise it, that that is the provision within that AS. So when you revise, it will be quickly, you can recall. The company accounts amalgamation has the highest weightage. So, that should not be in the index, but yes, for paper one, that is the highest weightage that is there. Then consolidated financial statements give an extra time here, because under this, I think for inter new scheme, this is important. Then foreign branch accounting, I think that is also always there. And always try to solve the ICAI study material, study material behind whatever questions are there and whatever content is been there after every AS, after every accounting standard thing. And I think conceptual part, that there is a question bank kind of what is given, try to solve that. That is very important. So in paper 2, that is corporate law and other laws, section is index is mandatory. You have to make it what all it covers and divide into chapters and learn the key chapters, what you call key sections, the chapters of key sections, like negotiable instrument, LLP, those kind of thing. Treat them as small subjects, and always answer in a structured manner. That is facts. I'm talking about paper 2, corporate law, where you will be writing facts sections, and in the section you will be writing the provision, operative text, as in the provision, what is the provision stand for, and conclusion, what is the conclusion. You have to give your conclusion. So facts section with how you are utilizing that section and applying, that is the operative text, and that conclusion. If there is no reference of section, section number you forget, that is okay, but still if you write it, that's a high weightage. For the section you should have the provision written, the provision title. That is why I told you to make an index. So if you remind that, you put that reference in there, and without reference, there will be no marks. That means your whatever answer you're trying to make for a law paper, tax paper, or any of these papers, you should be giving a reference from here where you have written it. Okay, that's important. Then is third chapter as in paper, that is taxation and section B is GST. So there is two subjects in one paper. Both are having equal marks and equal weightage as in. And for DT, that is direct tax, you have to, and the index that you have to make is for especially for the PGBP and capital gain. For every section, section number and the title and the provision what is applied, a very very short way you write that, because this will carry heavy highest weightage. So you should be you know very familiar with all of the section and the section titles. Without looking at it, I mean, just having a glance, the provision should come in, this section stands for which provision, this should be there. So every day, every morning 25 minutes, 20 minutes, you revise, recall, try to recall all this. Okay, so for GST, I think GST, this is new here. So I think place of supply, how is the blocked credit, that must be known. And for case studies, uh, the way of answering, structured manner like facts, what is the applicable section over here, what is your opinion, and then conclusion, that should be there here. That is the approach that you should have. Then for group 2, group 2, there is cost and management accounting. This topic is fully numerical, I believe. Yes, this is fully numerical. So especially in the numerical chapters, what you have to do is that solve minimum past 5 question, what you call the past year question papers, at least 5, whatever is your attempt now, September 26th. So before that, whatever 5 is that, try to solve that. And when you solve that, initially you will be finding it a bit tricky or something, do not give up, but try to solve in the timed manner. This is the biggest method by which you will be able to crack this numerical concept, especially costing, cost and management accounting. This is it. So for whatever you answer, try to make a working note. For any step that you make, working note. Okay, for this is the format for by which you will be earning marks. And marginal costing questions and variance analysis in every paper, you should be mastering that first. Okay, so I mean, just a subject wise what needs to be done also, I'm just saying that. Activity based costing, decision making, decision making where there's relevant costing, make or buy or shut down, those kind of chapters also need to be focused upon. Okay, then is chapter 5, auditing and ethics. I think everyone knows, before starting with auditing, you must be well versed with essay number, essay titles, that is in the index provision that you have to maintain. Every morning read that. Okay, when you read that, alongside that, just maintain what is the objective of this essay, what is the requirement, this are the requirement. Okay, documentation standard, what need to be maintained, that should be there. Okay, this should be there for your revision as an index. Revise it every morning 25 minutes. Okay, I'm just repeating that again. What is the manner in which you will be answering essay questions is, first, what is the issue identified, then what is the, based on the issue, what is the standard applicable, essay standard. Based on that essay standard, what is the auditor's responsibility and what is the audit procedure that you're going to follow. So while writing all these answers also, you have to think is that when, what, why, who, how, all these things, where, if you put this 5 questions, these elements of answering would usually come out. And in any moment if you are stuck, just try to remember while you are revising or you are studying, your approach should be by using this when, why, who, where, this should be used. So focus on this essay index, because without studying this, you should not be studying anything else in auditing. Ethics would be new here, I think, for CA Inter. Ethics under new scheme. So you should know the fundamental principles and what are the framework for independence and all, conceptual framework for independence. And then after ethics, the next thing is CARO, which is the checklist, and this must be known completely. CARO, where it applies, and whenever you write the answer of auditing, the CARO section, numbers or the references you need to put in that CARO 2020, you need to bring the reference of those in the provision. Then is chapter 6. Chapter 6 is FM and SM, and FM section and SM. So this is again numerical, and plus there is, I think, theory as well in this to test, like NPV, IRR, and WACC. I mean, these are the where you have the weightage, the ratio analysis, and working capital numericals. And so I think while you prepare this, 50 marks for financial management and 50 marks for strategic management, you have to focus on both of this. So the percentage, what you give the weightage is like 60% time to financial management and 40% time to strategic management, because there is a theory along with that. So you should split the time that way, so that throughout your preparation, so that it is where strategic management is theory, where it can be learned just with the full components and apply them to the given scenario. So split it in that manner, and that should be done. And in CA Inter, or maybe CA papers, generally there is always this cross-subject references. Like when you prepare, for example, like for, contract for service. So you should be remembering the angle of TDS, where it is 194, C 194, J, that should be applied. And maybe revenue recognition concept of AS9. And, these kind of references should always be, kept in mind. So it's not only with contracts of service, there will be related party transaction, for TA, where you are referencing, and then related party in auditing with relevant SA number, you should be remembering that, such kind of thing. So, well, CARO also for auditing, and Schedule 3 of Companies Act, you must be referring that, and whatever is the AS applicability. This cross thing should always be kept in mind, whenever you are preparing, and always when you are answering, use this cross reference of the subject to show that your expertise in these areas, and you write that. Okay. So there are many cross things. If you want, you can write it down if you know upfront what are there, and whenever you meet with this kind of cross references, just write down in that. Write down. It will be a handful of maybe 6 or 7 cross thing that would be coming up, and you can write it down, and try to solve question bank, where try to resolve every question where where it is getting incorrect. It's not like 100% you are solving everything. Some things are very easy, that you can do it, then maybe you can skip it. But wherever you feel that slightly, I have to do it, then only I'll get a flow. And when you try to do and you're causing a mistake, just try to resolve that within the intended time. If that is causing a mistake, try to resolve it within a intended time, and then recheck carefully where is the gap and try to fix that gap. And then there is where in certain papers it is combined, like you have this FM and SM, this is combined paper strategy. So I think paper 3 and 6 there is combined. So whenever you prepare for a part of section or something, try to prepare for both. So that is why the approach of 40 of FM and 60 of SM, so that both are covering equally. That's the smart way of dealing with it. And yeah, mock test papers. When do you do that? Yet every weekend try to for that subject pick up a mock paper, just time it, write the paper, write the paper, whatever is causing wrong, no problem, you write it, and then try to verify with the some key answers, because you are using with the mock test paper, you will have the key answer. Try to verify with that. If there is big deviation, there is 5% deviation, 10% deviation, that's okay. But if it is more than that, try to fix those gaps before actual exams, and that is very good. And last not the least, a night before, read this index, what you have read every morning, read this index. No new topics, strictly no new topics. Even if you come across any new topics, don't do that. Whatever you have studied, just try to revise it again. Revise it is just a glance through all these things, because you should have a 8 hours sleep. Okay, when you go into the exam hall, you should be walking not foggy way, you should be walking sharp. Okay, so if you have 8 hours sleep, it's good. Because brain, how does it is try to retain, is like whatever you have read and revised, it tries to do retrieve only those, at last moment. If you read something, it will not try to retrieve those. So whatever you study, something or other, write it on paper. So what do you mean by that? It's like you're not typing it, you're not putting in your head. What you do is that after every 30 minutes of study, maybe 30 minutes, or maybe any session you have completed, today's session you have completed. It's not like the full day, but maybe a 30-minute session or for 40 minutes or a 1 hour session you completed something. Try to write a 5-line summary of what you studied and what you known in that. This helps build memory and retain. During this 100 days, try to do this maybe each day or twice a day. And also, after revising for 25 minutes, try to read or not read, explain the provision, explain it out loudly. Because if you're not able to explain it, loudly, then you're not known about it. So keep a paper aside. Keep a paper aside whenever you're solving or reading or a concept or something which you know that you have made a mistake. Write the mistake out there. Try to write that mistake there. If it is a question where you have solved and you find fault in that area, what about that area, just write it. Okay, so in this section, in this chapter, in this area, you made this mistake. Write out that mistake. Why you writing that mistake? Because in the weekend you must revise this mistakes. Because when you're revising it, you're revising it 4 times. So when you're revising it, that these were the mistakes you did and you're not going to repeat it. And since you're taken an extra care about it, it would be fully eradicated. So for case studies, as I already told you, you must write facts, applicable section, your opinion, and then conclusion. So never skip this structure. You use the structure and quote section number wherever it is relevant, essay numbers in every single answer that you write. If there is no reference, then there is no marks. And well, I'm stressing about, you should sleep 8 hours because your brain will consolidate it well. If you are, sleeping, I'm repeating it because I did this mistake where, in a rush hour you study, and if you are not sleeping, you get foggy and, you're not able to retain it properly. So never do that mistake. So cutting sleep, will cut your retention, and your active recall will also fail in that. So that's it. So keep consistency, keep growing. If you have watched till here, do hit a like button and also share it with the students who are preparing for the CA journey, and do subscribe to the channel ComradeCA. Thanks a lot for watching, and stay tuned for upcoming video on this channel.